Okay, I just want to say right off the bat that the video quality on this is not going to be as good as the last video. I'm not doing it with my DSLR. I'm just filming this on my phone. Um, I wanted to talk about Miss Marvel really quickly. So I really liked it. There were problems I had with the first episode for sure. There were problems, but overall I thought it was really fun. And I can't wait to see Miss Marvel enter the Marvel universe and interact with other characters. Unfortunately, the stage for Miss Marvel's entrance into the Marvel Cinematic Universe is completely different from the setting she's in the 616 the 616 universe. And by that I mean there's just not the same characters. I think Miss Marvel often works best when she's bouncing off of her friends like Miles Morales, Sam Alexander, Vision, characters like that. But she doesn't have any of those people, so unfortunately you're just not going to have that kind of champions dynamic. I really love whenever she shows up in Miles's book, or I think her and Sam and Miles, like the three of them, the three like main champions, have a really fun relationship. But not gonna have that in the MCU, unfortunately. Hopefully, we can get a Sam Alexander soon enough. We can get some sort of version of the champions. I hope eventually. I hope they don't go too far into the champion stuff because I feel like the champions is kind of like I don't think they would because the champions is way too political for the MCU. I think I don't think they would dare do that. But also, if they did do it, I would hope that it would be kind of like a little bit more measured. Um, because it's on the nose to say the least. And I agree with the politics in the Champions book. Like I'm not I'm not like an animal, but my point is that it's like it's not the politics that bother me. It's the deliverance. It's the vehicle. It's just really on the nose. But it's completely relevant to this discussion. But I would love to see Miss Marvel in the future interact with some of these other characters that she would come to interact with really extensively for the last few years in the comics. I think Champions started in 2017. Um, I I like the show. I like the show. I like how everything looks like the comics. Everything really feels like a Miss Marvel comic, except for the powers, and that's a problem I kind of have a big deal with. It's a situation that I have a huge problem with. That is to say, I really don't like that they changed her powers. I think the powers she has now are too cosmic and lame, and they're just not Miss Marvel. Um, Especially we'll see how powerful she is, but the interesting thing about characters like Spider-Man for a long time and Miss Marvel is that they are these street level heroes who sometimes punch up, like they can punch into the higher brackets because of their skills. Like Spider-Man is incredibly like smart. He's a super genius. He's a master combatant, and he is powerful, but he's not like so overtly powerful that he is just naturally in the cosmic space. He spends his time with the little guy and punches up when he needs to. He is the ultimate underdog, um, and yet he is the best of them. So that's. I hope they keep Kamala on the street during the proceedings of the show. Obviously, she's going to be doing some crazy cosmic BS in the what is it? The Marvels movie, not Miss Mar or Captain Marvel 2 or whatever. Um, the store looks just like the store from the comics, which is great. They've got Bruno. They've got the store. Everything looks like the artwork from the book. I've got the first volume. By the way, I got my little Miss Marvel badge. I've got the full first series here, collected in trade. And I also happen to have the first issue. This is the first appearance of Kamala Khan as Miss Marvel. She had appeared for an issue in a Captain Marvel book before that, but only as a civilian. But yeah, so the first episode is called Generation Y, which is a terrible story in this series. I like this series overall. This is a terrible story. I hate Generation Y. It's so bad. Um, what it actually is adapting is No Normal, which is the first story arc where she gets her powers. Uh, I don't know why they called it Generation Y. They should have called it No Normal. That's what I expected. But I am excited to see where Miss Marvel goes. I'm very excited for this series. I'm very excited to have another street level hero. I'm very excited to have another hero with a secret identity. I'm very excited to have another high school superhero, because we are fresh out of those now that Peter Parker's gone off to Empire State University, presumably in the next film. So yeah, it's literally just Kamala as far as high school superheroes go in the MCU right now. And secret identities are scarce too. We've got Spider-Man, Miss Marvel, and Daredevil, and that's about it. Unfortunately, oh, there we go. Just needed to plug that bad boy in to the charging port. What I want to say, oh yeah, stuff I don't like. Stuff I don't like is, like, again, stuff I like, love the visuals. The house, it doesn't look exactly like the house from the comic, but it has the same feel. It's great. Feels like Jersey City, feels like Kamala's house, feels like Kamala's neighborhood. The store looks exactly like the store. It just feels like Miss Marvel, Cole Academic High School, all that stuff. It's there. It looks good. It's great. Visual style, I love the cartoonish animatics at the beginning. I like this sort of comic booky, like poppy feel, pop art. I love all that. What I hate is the incompetence of Kamala. Um, I don't know if Xavier Mendoza coined this term, but he uses Godzilla Mendoza. If you're not familiar, he's a comic book YouTuber who focuses a lot on Daredevil, or sorry, not Daredevil, on Deadpool and Spider-Man. And he coined a term, I think, called the penisman. Tripping over one's balls penisman. Which is to say, like, oh, look at him, he's goofy, incompetent, but he's fun and lovable, and you love him because he's just a goober, he's just a total goofball. Moon Knight, Stephen Grant's Moon Knight, Peter Quill, and Peter Parker in the MCU would be like what you would call a penisman, so to speak. Which is to say, they're lovable because they're, and Scott Lang. But I don't particularly like that trope in most cases. I think it's really annoying, and I don't like it with Miss Marvel, where she's kind of incompetent and annoying, and like, I don't know if it's intended that she's written to be like sort of ADD, or maybe she's on the spectrum or something. Like, I have a little brother who is he has ADHD and he is autistic, and Kamala exhibits a lot of behaviors that are similar to that, which is bizarre because Kamala is decidedly not that. It's the same thing. I didn't like Kamala in the game because she was really obnoxious most of the time. The Avengers video game from a couple of years ago. I don't like that interpretation of Kamala. I think that the actress who plays Kamala is really good with what she's given. I just hope that they treat her with a little bit more dignity going forward, because Kamala is, like, you know, intelligent and witty, and competent. Like, she knows what she's doing. She's the leader of the champions, after all. So I hope that she grows into that by the end of the first couple episodes, or the first season anyway, or I'm going to be really, really annoyed, because she is insufferable. Sometimes she can't even carry out a conversation without just like going off the rails into Fantasyland. And that's not who the character is. She's a fan, don't get me wrong, but she's not like sad. You know what I mean? Like, she's not, she can reel herself in. She is responsible and competent, and not an idiot. So anyway, I'm thinking maybe by the end of the series, they're almost definitely not actually going to adapt Generation Y, because it's just like a crazy bonkers banana pants nonsense town. But there is a chance that they'll adapt Volume 4, which is Last Days, where she teams up with Captain Marvel. So I think it's very possible Brie Larson could be in this show, for better or worse. I think that after the criticism of the first Captain Marvel movie, that hopefully they'll try to make her a little bit more likable going forward. There's one more thing I want to say. Oh yeah. So I'm a fairly big Miss Marvel fan. Like, I really enjoy Miss Marvel as a character, but I think that she is handled poorly a lot of the time. So I have a very complex love-hate relationship with Miss Marvel. Sometimes she's handled really, really poorly, like in the Avengers video game, and sometimes she's handled really, really well, like in the 2020 Outlawed and subsequent Champions mini. I really like her previous series, the one right before the one. I haven't read the brand new one that just started a couple months ago, but the series of comics she had that got canceled from last year, I really enjoyed those. And I will definitely read the new series in trade when it comes out. But I fear for the character a little bit, because they do seem to be going with that sort of really obnoxious Avengers version of the character a little bit, and her powers are obviously far less interesting in creative than the one she has in the comics. There's a fly over there. That's why I was distracted. Nonetheless, tell me what you think. I am cautiously optimistic for the show. I think that it has a really solid start, despite the problems I have with it. It's a lot of fun, and I feel like I could watch it again right now and still enjoy it. Unfortunately, she's not an Inhuman. I thought maybe they were going to make her a mutant. That would have been really cool. I do feel like it takes away from the character not to have that Inhuman heritage, because she is a marginalized minority group as both a citizen, but she doesn't escape that just because she puts on a domino mask, because the Inhumans are also a marginalized group of people. They're second-class citizens. So even as a superhero, she has to deal with that aspect of her life, of her identity. And she doesn't choose to be a superhero in the comic book. She is thrusted responsibility upon her, and she has to grow into it. It's her responsibility, in the same way that Spider-Man has thrusted into powers, and he has to learn to deal with them responsibly. Whereas, and he can't go back. Like, he has great power, and therefore he has a great responsibility. The same with Kamala Khan. She has great power. She doesn't choose great power. She chooses responsibility with that power. But in the show, she has a bracelet that she can take off at any time. She could give it to somebody else. She could, like, give it to the Avengers or whatever. There's nothing that is... There's nothing holding her responsible. Which is a huge problem, I think. But we'll see how it plays out. I hope that they maybe play on that a little bit by the end of the series. We'll see. I was really disappointed with Moon Knight. It started off really, really optimistic with Moon Knight, and then by the end, I was done. I hope that doesn't happen for Miss Marvel. But anyway, I'll catch you later. Thanks for listening to me rant for 15 minutes almost. I'll catch you later.